What was the Great Gallon Incident? And was it really Keith who pulled the prank? But first off, if you haven't read Keepers of the Lost Cities, then you should probably turn back and not watch this video, as it will give spoilers. If you want to watch anyway, that's fine, but it might be a little confusing. Hello, my name is Fly the Fish, and I have read lots of books, but in particular, Karlka, or Keepers of the Lost Cities, was one of my favorites. I've read every book out right now, which, of course, is books 1 through 9.5. And I've also read books 1 through Lodestar twice. And the one thing that is mentioned in probably every book, except maybe the novellas, is the Great Gallon Incident. We don't know exactly who did it, or what it even was, but we do get hints throughout the entire series. In fact, if you look it up, it's actually mentioned about 12 to 15 times throughout the entire series. It might not sound like a lot, but this is something we still don't know about, so each of these are clues. So, with those clues, we can piece together that it was Keith who pulled the prank, probably. And it had something to do with gallons. But what even are gallons? Well, if you look in book 8.5, it has a section on protected creatures. In this such section, it has gallons listed. This is what it says about them. Incredibly stinky greenish creatures that are rarely seen above ground, though a number became visible during Foxfire's infamous Great Gallon Incident. Their bodies are similar in size to a large rabbit's, but shaped more like a rodent, with the exception of their noses, which are elongated like an anteater's. These are the key things we learn from it. 1. Gallons are stinky, so awesome for a Keith prank. And 2. It's rarely seen above ground, so that's a problem for the pranker. That would also point it to someone who could get a large supply of them. That's one problem for the argument of Keith pulling the prank. He lived in Candleshade at the time of the prank being pulled, and he was usually stuck in his room. And back then, his mom was still around, sometimes erasing his memories and bringing him places. So how could Keith get all of them and bring them to Foxfire? Or could it be someone else? First, could it be Dame Alina? She did not seem to like Keith at all. So what if she pulled the Great Gallon Incident thinking she could find proof, even though fake, to get Keith expelled? But the problem with that is how Dame Alina is. Would she really pull a master prank just to expel Keith? And there's another problem with it not being Keith. Keith acts like it was him. But what is Keith we're talking about? The master prankster. If somebody else pulled the Great Gallon Incident, then he would be majorly outpranked. So he could be lying about it the whole time, while some other character did it all along. The next theory is that none other than Sina Hex did it. In book 1, she puts a muskog in Dex's locker after he pranks her. So she could probably get gallons if she can get muskogs. She lives on an animal preserve after all. But what even is a muskog? In book 8.5, it says frog-like creatures that burp stinky gas when frightened, which makes the muskogs a popular choice for pranks. If they are popular for pranks, that means they must be easier to get than gallons, which would counter the Sina Hex theory. But I wouldn't counter it just yet. So, could it be Keith after all? He is a prankster. So let's look in his disciplinary records to see if the Great Gallon Incident lines up with his other pranks. His first violation was technically skipping level 2, but that's not really a prank. His first real violation, though, was skipping morning sessions. Dame Alina gave him the benefit of the doubt and moved on. But the very next day, Keith was found napping in an entirely different room during afternoon sessions. All he got was a note sent to him, though. The next violation was his first prank. He put Gurgle Gut in Fitz's lunch. He got detention. Well, in detention, Keith did a prank called the Great Pusplosion. That sounds almost too much like the Great Gallon Incident, but it's sent proof he did it. But it isn't proof he did it. Keith got another 3 detentions and a note sent home. We don't know which detention this was, but Keith was supposed to recite a gnomish poem. Instead, he made his own poem, The Saga of Sir Boo Boo. Keith got a week of additional detention assigned and a note sent home. Next, he skipped his session. Okay, not too bad. He got a week of detention and a note sent home. But the very next prank was the Great Gallon Incident. Dun dun dun! The seriousness was rated 11 out of 10, and Dame Alina even admitted as soon as she found out evidence that Keith pulled the Great Gallon Incident, she was going to expel him. This is a clue that helps the first theory, but I think no matter how many fun theories there are, it was definitely Keith. Please comment who you think it is, and like and subscribe too, please. I love making content like this and blah blah blah. Back to the Great Gallon Incident. What was it? How did it happen? Well, we have some clues. First, Dame Alina says she got a smell in her hair that she needed to wash out. So that hints it was on her, not necessarily the students. So I think the Great Gallon Incident was where Keith put gallons everywhere in the teachers' offices, and they had to live with the terrible smell the entire day. Thanks for watching. Bye!